and I just feel like, I don't know, a member of this military, can't speak, Tuesday it is. Baby Yoda, baby Yoda. Hi guys, I'm sat here once again with my headset on, and you know, I don't know what to do. It is what it is. I'm currently editing and I like to edit with my headphones in because my speakers are not very good on my computer. But anyway, that is by the by. You don't need to know the reasons and whys and wherefores and whatnots about my headset. What you do need to know is that this is another weekly vlog. Welcome. And it's going to be another week when I'm by myself. I'm all on my lonesome. I'm feeling better than I was last week, although I kind of, in some ways, not. Work stress kind of getting to me. Do you know when you loved your job before, massive change happens, and then you still love your job but not necessarily some of the people that you work with? It's gone from being really good to having a bunch of people around me that I really like, to one particular person draining the positive energy out of me as soon as I walk in the office. And it's like not the best place to be, because I spend most of my time there. So there we go. Sorry to start on a downer, but it is what it is. I'm very trying to speak well. I'm very much trying to force some positivity. I don't like doing that, but I feel like if I don't keep reaffirming some positive energy, then I will slump in life and in books and in general. And when that downward spiral hits, as someone who struggles with mental health problems on a daily basis anyway, the downward spiral hits hard and fast, and then it takes me weeks to get out, and we don't need any of that in my life right now. So what we need to do this week is do some positive reading. Woo! I don't know what positive reading is, but I'm going to try it. So this week we're going to be reading a few physical books, which is different for me. I'm going to try and get one of these books on audio as well, but if I can't, it doesn't really matter. So you can see my lovely book bestie, lovely little cover, but the book that's under this lovely cover is Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne, the master of high fantasy, the person who introduced me to the phrase of on the morrow and fair dawning, and is half of my personality, the other half is 6. So two totally different things, but there we go. I'm gonna start reading. I'm supposed to be reading this with Rosie, and if you have been on any of mine or Becca's or Liv's lives of me or any of my friends, you will see Rosie. She comes with VP on lives, but she's called Rosie, and I'm going to be reading that with her. I'm going to double check that she started it because she has been not feeling the best recently. Hunger of the Gods came out, and I am actually itching to dive into that. It's chunkier than the first one, but I'm really excited for that. And my physical read is Illborn by Daniel T. Jackson. I've been warned that in the first part of this there is a trigger warning for sexual assault. So I know this going in. I want you to know this going in. And I've also been told it is quite religion heavy. Now, I found this a lot with high fantasy. And with any kind of fantasy, it can tend to be quite religion heavy. and there's lots of like prejudices around religion and people who are and aren't religious and stuff, and like it does seem to come across like a lot of people who are religious are fanatically religious. It's like extreme religious thing, like thoughts and feelings and faith, and I think that this is very much that. So if this is not if that's not your thing, I would advise to just probably maybe stay away from this, because I've been told that the religion and it does factor heavily into this. So again, because I know that going in, I've prepared myself for that, because I like to know that kind of thing going in. I don't like it just to be thrust upon me, because then I get annoyed. But this is going to be a physical read, and I'm not going to get this finished physically in a week. We're just going to plod through. Chelsea is already on around the page 40 mark. Last time when she updated a vlog, I need to double check with her as to where she is. And I think for the most part for this evening, once I've edited my book haul, I'm going to be focusing on this. I do need to do my buddy read pages of Raid of Dragons. At this point, it was starting off at like a 3, because it was just building up, and then it went up to a 4, and now I'm kind of struggling as to where that sits with everything, and it's probably literally going to be throwing my gut feelings at the end and compile and see what grade it comes out at, because I'm enjoying it, but there's so much that's going on in some respects. The only characters I really remember are Udwak, Jabari, Tau, Zuri, and then there's just so many other names that are just like thrown in and out. I'm just not sure. I know what's going on, and I'm enjoying. I'm just not sure where it's going. I'm over halfway through the book, and I know I think it's a duology, so I don't expect it to wrap up nice and neatly at the end. But I thought it's supposed to be a revenge story, and this is just very much like a build up to. It's like a very much build up to something, and I don't know. How is a young man who basically it's a revenge story. I like the trials aspect of this whole book, but the whole story is that something happens, he wants to seek revenge, he needs to become a greatest swordsman in order to do that, and he needs to go through these trials that they call skirmishes. He needs to get into this group first, become an initiate. He needs to go through a few battles or skirmishes, whatever, to get into that, and then within that they then need to go as a group and then work their way up. So the whole book is basically him doing that, and then the revenge aspect of it is kind of like taking a bit of a backseat. He's doing all this in order to get revenge, but I'm not really sure why we needed to see everything that he has to do if the whole point of this was to get revenge. I don't know if this book is just setting up another book, and that more of it's going to happen in the second book. I don't know. I'm enjoying it, but not as much as I thought I was going to do, which is very sad, because I really wanted, if Fires of Vengeance is the second one, I really wanted to read that, but I don't know. Anyway, that is that on that. So I'll be finishing that in the next couple of days. I'm on page 447. It's only got like 500 and something pages in, so 544 pages, so not got long to go. And the other book that I want to get through this week is Kingdom of Flesh and Fire. I finished From Blood and Ash over the weekend, and I'm very intrigued as to where it's going to go. The ending was just like what the actual hell, and I don't think I can just leave it without continuing. And I was gonna try and leave a couple of these, like leave this one till like next week and then read the other one in the final week, but I'm gonna try and finish this week, which I suppose I could do, because I started and finished From Blood and Ash over 2 days, so we'll see. Essentially, these three plus Shadow of the Gods is this week's TBR. I may veer off that at some point, pick up a little manga to try and break things up if the high fantasy gets too much. But we'll see where we go, and I'll see you all later. Tuesday it is. I know that's Yoda, not Baby Yoda, but never mind. I don't have a Yoda. I only have a Baby Yoda, baby Yoda, and I only have a Baby Yoda little thing. 'Tis Tuesday, friends. 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 I definitely have friends. Friends. Time to meet my friends. This bad boy. Can you read that? That's backwards. I don't know what I'm doing. I have started reading this, and I am... Why am I holding it so weird? I'm this far in. As you know, this is high adult fantasy, and it has multiple POVs. So what I've done, or started to do, as you can see, is tab it. So these are currently the tabs for the 4 different characters that we are going to be meeting. And I've had a quick skim without ruining anything, and it tends to be a cycle of the same 4 or 5 characters going throughout. So I feel like I've got a little key at the front of what the characters' names are, and then at the start of each chapter I'm just gonna tab with their colour, just in case I need to refer back to anything relating to that character. I am now on page 52, which doesn't seem like a lot, but obviously I showed you the writing, it's small. And I have been also reading tonight. I have also been finishing Rage of Dragons tonight. Yes, this unfortunately came out at a 3 stars. So I'm not going to say this book is bad. It's not bad, but it doesn't give me the vibes I needed. So for me, it didn't go in enough to the characters and the character history. I didn't feel a connection to the characters. It's very plot driven. If you're more of a plot driven reader, this is a revenge story. If you're a plot driven reader, then this is probably going to be for you, because it is very much boom, and the characters are just taken on the journey with them. There was a father figure in here that I did feel a slight pang in the chest when something happened. That says a lot to say that this person wasn't the main character, and I felt more for that person that wasn't the main character, was just a father figure, than I did for anything happening to the main character Tao. It's not a horrible book. I would still recommend it if you're a plot driven reader. If you're more of a character driven reader like myself, you may not like it as much, which is disappointing. It is what it is. I did, some things I liked about it, I did like the found family vibe. It does have a very much found family, Sword Brothers type of like tight knit sort of like military, you know, brotherhood feel to it, and I love that. I love any kind of found family vibe. I did like some of the characters. I just wish I'd have seen more of them, got to know them a bit more, so that when things happened, I felt more of the high stakes, because it's a war book. It's a book about war. There's lots of violence in this, yet I should have been scared for the characters. I should have not wanted anyone to get hurt or die, but I genuinely didn't care, which to me means I've not been dragged in enough to the characters and feeling for them in order for me to care. Obviously war's never a great thing to read about, so I can't say, oh, I sat there and enjoyed the war, but the war was very interesting. I did like that it was like a different kind of fantasy, so it had sort of like African inspired themes, and I did like the dragon aspect, although I didn't see enough of the dragons in my eyes. Also, there's a glossary in the back, and there's also the cast like hierarchy, so if you get lost, then you can go check in the back. But yes, that was a 3-star from me. So what I have also read tonight is, I forgot that I was reading Jasmine's Throne with Lindsay. So the TBR that I said I was going to have for this week will slightly change, but I was surprised. I never stick to mine with TBR week on week, really. I'm going to continue plugging along with this, and I will have finished this by the end of the month. So this is going to be one I chip away at, because I don't want to get too far ahead in the buddy read, because me and Chelsea are reading it together, so I don't want to get too far ahead, because I want to be able to have a discussion with her as we go along. So, and I don't mind on something that's this immersive. And from the get-go, this had me shooketh. On like page 6, I think it was, like page 6 or 7, I was already intrigued at the beginning. It was kind of started on a mysterious note. But then page 6 hit and I was like, wow, this is different. And then we just keep going. And we've now met different characters. There's Kaden, there's Alana, Liana, Corin, and Arion. We're going to meet soon. I'm just on Liana's chapter. And I think it just rotates between the main those main 5 characters. From what I can see, I've sort of skimmed through the titles. So there's this. Jasmine Throne, so far, I'm really enjoying it. I am really intrigued. I am a little bit behind Lindsay on the buddy read. I've got to chapter 7 because I'm just audibly reading this. Because I don't have the physical copy as yet. I was meant to have a look at Waterstones and Forbidden Planet when we went. And then it slipped my mind because I found like Muse of Nightmares for 99p and I just went batshit crazy. So yeah, I will get the physical copy if I enjoy the audio, but she's given me a chapter breakdown of where I need to stop and read to when I'm listening. So I'm a little bit behind on that, but I will catch up eventually. And then what I didn't update you on was last month. You are wonky. Last month, I was supposed to be reading Plain Bad Heroines. I'm not yet going to unhaul that. I keep saying this, like, in a month when I have no readathons or a month when I have less pressure. But I need to read it, or I need to find another Dark Academia book in order to complete my prompts for Magical Readathon. Because that is a Magical Readathon book. And unless I can get a separate Dark Academia book to fit that prompt, then from what I've read so far since September, then I'm going to be struggling a little bit. I don't know if I've read any more Dark Academia books, but we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it, do you know what I mean? I need to sit down at some point, probably tomorrow, and sort of write down what books I've finished for Magical Readathon and what books I still need to read. Speaking of Magical Readathon, I will update you properly on that tomorrow, on where I'm at with realmathon and Magical Readathon with regards to books I've submitted and points and whatnot. But right now I'm going to head off, get some biscuit tea, read some more of this before bed, and chip away at this. So yeah, I will see you all on the morrow. Hi guys, thought I would jump in here because it is now Thursday and I didn't update you yesterday. Today is a week of not feeling good, it seems. I just feel like I've just come into a life slump. I don't know. This is the joys of struggling with a mental health problem and not medicating. So, but it's just, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. It's really weird. It's a weird feeling. Sometimes I feel like I want to laugh at stupid things that just aren't funny. Sometimes I just want to cry. Like, sit in a corner and cry. Doesn't even have to be anything major that's been said or done. So I'm glad I'm working from home today because it gives me a chance to just be by myself. It doesn't help that there's been a lot of changes in work, and I don't mind change. I honestly don't. But prepare me for it. Like, prepare me for the type of change that's coming, and it's not just a change, it's a change in the person that I'm interacting with, and this person's personality and attitude. It's just not one that I'm currently vibing with or gelling with, and just sucks all the life out of me every time I walk in the office. That's fun. Having to pretend to be nice to someone when they're a nice person, really, or they're not coming across as the nicest person. But it's work. I can't just turn around and say to my new boss, like, I don't like you because you seem like a nasty person. And some of the things that have come out of the mouth is just... I'm quite a caring person. And, like, I work in a place where my job is trying to get people into work. And some people I need to be more firm with than others. I'm just not nasty with the participants, and it's just like... it seems like they wanted me to be, like, nasty to people and rude to people to get them to do what I want, and I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Because that's manipulative, and I am not manipulative. I know that I do, if you watch my vlogs, I do talk about mental health quite a bit, but what I will say is just because someone doesn't show online all the time that they do struggle, doesn't mean that they don't. So just be wary of that when comments are flying around, because I've seen it a lot in the last couple of weeks. Yeah, I'd just say be wary of that, maybe. Anyway, on to the reading updates. I have not read any more of Illborn yet. I will be reading that tonight. I've been reading more of the Jasmine Throne, and I am now on, like, chapter 16, and where is the romance? This is supposed to be, and I think this was pitched, like, as a YA sapphic romance. There's not even been any interaction between the two females that I think are going to have the romance. And I know chapter 16 doesn't seem like a lot, but there's been a meeting of these people. Like, they've been in each other's presence. I've got 5 hours of the audio left on the speed that I've got it on. Chapter 18, sorry, I'm just getting into chapter 18, and there's been no romance. I don't know. I mean, the story's interesting. There's a bit of intrigue around the main character, Priya, and we are slowly finding out things about her, and that bit's interesting. But at the moment, it's sitting very much at a 3, because it is just okay. I mean, don't pitch it as a sapphic romance, or a romance of any kind, if there's no interaction for the majority. Like, I say the majority, like half of the book so far. We're halfway through, almost, I think, because it's not a massive book. And I just feel like I want the romance. I'm happy to read books that aren't romance. I read Malice. There's no romance in that. I read high fantasy, like of Blood and Fire, for instance, Ryan Cahill. No romance in that. It's adult high fantasy about like a war and a world of magic and dragons. And there's no romance in that. I go into books like that knowing that there's no romance. Don't expect it. Therefore, I am okay with that. I have a different mindset going into that. I went with a mindset of, like, romance, yes. Sapphic, yes. Tick, 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 tick. It's a fantasy. And then we get in the fantasy bit and bits about the main character. And it's, like, switching between, like, POVs. There's no romances yet. I might say this, I'll come back in like a couple of minutes and be like, oh, I will listen to some more, and there is some romance. I just was a bit too eager to get to it. But I don't know. Let me have a look and see if I was to read this on 1 speed. Oh, okay, so if I was to read this on 1 speed, it's 19 hours and 43 minutes. And I have 12 hours and 47 minutes left. So we're effectively 7 hours into a book. And I've got 12 hours left, so it's just over halfway that I've got to go left. That I've got left to go. We'll see. We'll see. Again, like I said, I might just be being a bit too eager for the romance to start. But Anyway, never mind. I'm gonna go now.
Days and nights, never felt so much. I just can't shut up about you on my mind. You settle me down whenever you're around, I'm alright. I've always tried to be more than I am, but you focus my heart when you're holding my hand. I miss you till I'm sore. My heart hurts, 'cause I've never quite felt like this before. It's cliche, but it's true. I just really like hanging out with you. I just wanna be stupid and happy with you.
Fair dawning, friends. I've not spoken to you in a few days. I'm actually coming in to close out this week's vlog. You'll have seen a bit of B-roll of the weekend, basically. What have I done since we last spoke? I think I last spoke to you on Wednesday. Might have been Thursday. But Thursday I did impromptu sprints with Jem from Bookish Gems. She is just an absolute bean. She's just brilliant. We had such a laugh. And after what went on like last week with sort of like some personal and work related things, I really needed really needed that, and I really needed time with my family this weekend, which I did do, and it was just so much fun. I read out in the garden while my parents did like gardening and the fence and stuff, and ran a few errands with them. I was the tea maker, the brew maker, and yeah, on the evenings my friend was going around to do some washing, and I didn't realise he was going to turn up as early as he has, so he just popped out to get some shopping. So while he's done that, I'm just going to finish updating you. So in the evening we watched a couple of films. We watched something called A Surprise Visit. The acting was so bad, apparently based on a true story. Very dubious. Basically some druggies went in to rob what they thought was an empty house. Turned out it wasn't. And then yeah, Rob Brydon was in it, so I was like, yay, this is gonna be good. His acting in it was okay, and that was the best thing about it, to be fair. And then what, the other evening we started watching The Last Kingdom, and I'm not normally one for watching historical type things like Vikings and stuff. I like reading about it in like high fantasy situations, but not really one for watching blood and gore and stabby. But I watched the first episode and really enjoyed it, so if I can make time for it in my schedule, I will be trying to watch The Last Kingdom. Reading wise, reading updates, reading. So this week I'm trying to get my core pile up. What I have. So this week I've read Kingdom of Flesh and Fire. I gave this 5 stars. I absolutely love this. This is the second in the From Blood and Ash series, if you don't already know. Most of you will, and most of you will have already read it by now. I'm so behind, just like I was with Akatar. I kind of wish I'd done a spoiler-filled vlog of this, but I read the majority of this at my parents' house, so I couldn't really update you then. But 5 stars. If you want to know any spoilery thoughts, I will give some spoilery thoughts in my wrap-up when I do it, whenever I do that. I still need to do a March wrap-up. I might do both around the same time. We shall see. I gave this 5 stars. I then read, or did I read? Jasmine's Throne. Now that was a DNF at like 60%, and I know that it was DNF is something at 60% sounds like a bit of a waste of time, but I looked at what was left on the audio. There's about 4 hours left on the audio, and I could not give a crap about any of the characters. I did not care for the plot. It was pitched as a fantasy romance, and I thought, yay, great, I could use it for the realmathon because it's a fantasy romance. I'm in bail, could have gone towards that, but no, it was I couldn't have thought of a worse thing to do at that particular time to try and push through over 4 hours worth of an audiobook, and I'd already sped it up at that point where I could, you know, to the point where I didn't have the physical book, so I could just follow along on audio, and I pushed up to the maximum that I could do that on without it being an absolute ramble. So yeah, even with that, before I was left, I just couldn't do that to myself. So there was that, and then I started, on Rose's recommendations, I started This Woven Kingdom. I'm about 50% through of that, but then I put that down because I wanted to get through Kingdom of Flesh and Fire. This Woven Kingdom, I think I could also class as a fantasy romance, so I would try and finish that either tonight or tomorrow maybe. But one thing that I have done this weekend, and I'm really proud of myself for doing, got through 4, on top of finishing Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, this is between Friday and today, which is Monday, I've also read 460 pages physically of Illborn. Are you proud of me? I'm proud of me, and look at those tabs. I am obsessed. So this is a tab per POV, and so far the yellow one, and probably the green one now, my favourite POVs, which is Corin and Arion. So this follows, I don't even know where to start with this. Follows the world at the brink of war. I'll do all high fantasies, and it's 800 years after Lord Adewell has basically ascended into heaven, and it starts off with one POV, and I don't know how that POV, and that's the one that I've put in red there because it's like one chapter from his point of view. From the get-go, this was like, it hit you with a ton of bricks, and I was intrigued from the start. What I will say is this deals a lot with religion. A lot of, not all, the people that are religious in this, a lot of the people that are religious in this are pious. And some bordering on fanatical, not bordering, some are fanatical, and the slightest thing that you do that is not deemed worthy is deemed as heresy, and you're a heretic. And it's very much, it's very that. And one of the POVs, the blue one, Liana, she's a very pious woman, and at the moment I'm struggling to connect with that particular character. I can't say connect with any of them. One I connect the most with is probably Alana, but yeah, the one that I'm liking the least at the moment is Liana. Apparently that may change, but my thoughts on these 4 characters have changed from the start to now anyway, so I'm really intrigued as to how it's gonna go. Basically, these 4 people have these superpowers that come from somewhere, and they start manifesting from dreams they start having, and I think it's something to do with a particular date that something happened, and then these 4 children were born like 9 months after this event, and then these powers, and again, like I said, they come from dreams. So it's fun to follow them from like when they started to as the powers grow, and they all have 3 different words connected to each person and each power. And I've written at the front, I'm not going to spoil it by telling you what these words are, but I've written the 3 words for each character, and I've sort of like, the way that I've tabbed it, I've put a tab at the beginning with what those 3 words are, because I feel like it comes into play with like what their powers are to what those words are. That makes sense, and it's really good. It doesn't need to be 700 pages long. I'm gonna say this, a lot of what was said and done could have been, and these are like full pages of writing, and it's very small writing, so I think it could have been made shorter. At first there was a POV that was very highly political, and the way that you found out what was going on was this person was stood in front of somebody basically telling you everything that was going on, and it was kind of like word vomit essentially when I was reading it, because although he like clearly was just setting this up so that he could explain how the politics of the world works, and you know, how close they were to war and things, it was trying to explain what was going on, but literally it was just talking at you for like 3 pages of this person explaining what happened in this meeting, and I was just, at a point I was just sat there and thought, what the hell is going on? They're still sitting at 4 stars despite that, because I am very intrigued about what's going to happen next, and I have this much left. I'm hoping to finish this in the next couple of days. That is me done for this week. I'm going to start next week's vlog today, and I'm going to give you an update on what I will be reading. I've put a poll up on Twitter as to what I'm going to read alongside my arc that I'm going to read this week. And yeah, if you want to see what's going on with my reading for the rest of the month, stay tuned, because I have 10 more books to read in 2 weeks. So, in under 2 weeks. Can she do it? I don't know if I can, but come along for the ride. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate you all very much. Thank you to anyone that reached out to check how I am this week, and I will see you all on the morrow with another video.